Mayweather and McGregor turned out to be a good fight. It went 10 rounds. Mayweather won by TKO, and he did everything he said he was going to do. He said he was going to give the fans a show. He did. He came forward the whole fight. He let McGregor throw shots at him in the early rounds, and then he tried knocking him out in the later rounds. And it was a good stoppage. At first, when I saw it live, I thought it was a little premature. I thought the referee stopped it a little bit early. But after watching the replay, I saw three things that a referee's watching for, and even your cornerman should be watching for, and that McGregor did. And that was he got rocked real hard. He was out on his feet multiple times. He got rocked real hard in that 9th and 10th round, and he was stumbling across the ring, so he got rocked real hard. He was out on his feet, ready to drop. He wasn't defending himself, wasn't hitting back, wasn't defending himself. And 3, mainly he was looking away from those shots. As those shots were coming at him, he's kind of turning away from them. Those 3 things right there shows the ref, and it even shows your cornerman that you just don't want any more to do with that fight. Once you start turning away from those shots like that, it means you just don't want to be where you're at. You don't want to get hit with those shots. And those are things that a cornerman and a referee watch for. When you get rocked like that and you're stumbling across the ring, and then you're not defending yourself, and then you're kind of turning away from those shots like you don't want them, that's time to stop the fight. So initially, the live action, it's hard to tell that, So initially, I kind of thought it was a little early too. I saw Evander Holyfield, he was ringside. He said he thought it was a little early too. But after watching the replay, immediately I saw those 3 things, and I said, it looked like a good stoppage, But gotta give a lot of credit to McGregor. He went into the boxing ring. He did something different, trained for it, he fought hard, and he tried his best, and that's all you could do in the fight game, combat sports. But it was all Mayweather. He must have thought to himself, I got one more fight left in me. I want to make it 50-0. I want to make as much money as I can, and I want to give the fans what they want to see, because he's a smart man. He knows people don't like him because of his style. He's a very defensive fighter. He makes kind of for a boring fight sometimes because of that, because he's such a defensive fighter. And as he got older, he got more defensive because he didn't want to take no chances, which, he's smart. He's a smart man, So his defensive style, he took less chances as he got older. He didn't stay in the pocket as much. He didn't trade punches as much because your reflexes start to slip as you get older, especially for average boxing age to retire should be 35, because that's when your reflexes go. So he went till he was 40. So to be able to keep fighting for those 5 years, he stopped taking as much chances, started fighting more defensively, and he still won all his fights. So gotta give a lot of credit to him. He went out the way he wanted to, and he proved a point because he made his last fight. He did what everyone said he doesn't do. He came forward, he took punches, he let McGregor hit him. If he wanted to, he could have slipped a lot of those punches, it looked like to me, if you ask me. He wanted an opponent who he could take some shots from, and all along he wasn't afraid of McGregor's punching power because he's an MMA fighter, he's not a boxer, and he don't want to discredit his opponent that he just beat, and I don't want to discredit him either. He's a fighter, I would root for him in the MMA. He's a good fighter, he's a great MMA fighter, he's a champion, and he stepped into the boxing ring, he changed up his game, he trained as a boxer, so that was a big challenge for him, so you gotta give him a lot of credit for that. But they both made the most money that they ever made, so they did a great job with that fight. They promoted it well. A little bit too much talking, but they promoted it well. Money-wise, tickets-wise, pay-per-view-wise, they did a great job. And it turned out to be a good fight. 10 rounds is a good fight. 10 out of 12 is good. Ending the way Mayweather said it was going to end. He said, I'm going to come forward, I'm going to get hit, and he's got to be ready to take if he's going to give, So he knew that his power, and his punches and his speed would be too much for him. He knew he'd be able to drop him in the later rounds, and he almost did. If not for that TKO, it would have been a KO. and it turned out to be a good fight. So it was a good way for Mayweather to go out, and it was a good opportunity for McGregor. You know, it was a big challenge for him, and Dana White said this kid loves challenges. You know, he steps up to the challenge. So it's good for both of them. It turned out to be good for both sports, for the fans especially, you know, for Mayweather, you know, because he did stuff that he never did before. You know what I mean? He came forward, he took punches, and he still had that, you know, that strategy mentality. You know, he was fighting smart the whole time. He took those punches in the first round. He went back to the corner and he told his dad, you know, we'll get him in the later rounds. As in, I'm not afraid of that power. Like, it's not too much for me. So he's a smart man. He's a smart fighter. Great way for him to go out. Good for both guys. Congratulations to both guys. And I hope everybody liked the fight because it turned out to be a little bit better than a lot of people expected.